program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the Happiness Jungle with yours truly, the Chief Happiness Officer, Lyn-Dee Eldridge. And today, I am so excited to go out to the veterans. You know, when I was growing up, I remember hearing about the veterans coming home and everybody really rejecting them, and it was a horrible thing that was going on. Well, today, I'm so excited to share with you that there's great opportunity for veterans. And I'm super excited that I was at an event and I got to meet this wonderful gentleman that's sitting beside me today. And it truly is all about the veterans, isn't it, John?
Yes, it is. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. So everybody, I would like for you to meet John Ellis, and he's going to share with us today exactly what the opportunity is that the veterans have. And it's very, very doable, and it's nationwide. So no matter where you are listening to this show, we have a solution for the veterans. Hi, John.
Hello.
I am so happy that you joined me today. We met a few weeks ago at an event, and I was very intrigued. Will you share with us, first of all, share with us your background, share with us what you do and why you're doing it?
Well, first of all, I'm with J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. We're a national franchise. They're all owned and operated by military veterans and their family members. I was actually in the Air Force for 20 years. I was a security forces. Did that for 20 years back in 91 when I enlisted. And I just retired January 1st, 2012. And it was very difficult trying to find a job. So it took me a year, I believe it or not, from when I retired to actually get hired by, worked at the federal prison over here in Massachusetts.
Wow. Was that your first choice to work at a federal prison?
Not necessarily.
Whew, yeah.
I was police. I was in the security police. I was a military police investigator toward the end of my career. So I was investigating people, putting them in jail and stuff like that. Now here I am on the opposite side, watching them, making sure they don't kill each other.
Oh my gosh.
That's basically what you're doing.
Oy.
So it was. I did that for the past 3 years. And decided, you know what, this wasn't really quite for me. You know, I went from being I'm a retired master sergeant, and I went from management level, you know, starting from the beginning again, and it's just different mentality, I guess I could say. And I just said, you know what, now I'm back to shift work again and all that. And
right.
I'm a single dad, so it was a little more difficult on raising my kids right now. And I was like, I need to look for something a little bit different. And I found it in J-Dog Junk.
Wow. You're a single dad?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are your boys?
I have actually a daughter and a son.
Okay.
My daughter, she's 18. She just graduated high school. So,
congratulations.
Thank you. And so she just started her first year in Southern New Hampshire University.
Oh,
so,
nice.
So she's a freshman. So it's a big move there for her.
How's that working out for you, Dad?
Not too bad. It's you know, she commutes from home, so that's why, so it helps a little bit financially in that aspect, you know. But it seems like, you know, college is a lot different, that's for sure, than regular high school and elementary.
Right.
So they have more time, you know how that goes.
Isn't that crazy?
So they don't know what to do with this extra time.
It costs a lot of money. They have more time.
So, but then like my son, he's a junior in high school. He goes to Merrimack High School.
Oh, very nice. So there's a nice little balance for you, huh?
Yeah.
Keeps you on your toes, needless to say. Just a little bit. Do the kids help you out with the business?
Yes, I'm very fortunate. They like to help out. So, you know, whenever, especially for this past summer. I mean, I've only been in business now for about 9 months.
Okay.
I actually opened up December of last year is when I actually opened up.
Wow.
Did my grand opening. So this summer they've been helping me out with, you know, doing, of course, they're getting paid, so that's why.
It's always good to get paid, right?
So,
get a lot of volunteers when they get paid.
There you go. Yeah, so it's fortunate enough. I'm happy that they're willing to help out and stuff like that.
Yeah. So you found J-Dog. And how hard was it for you? What made you go on this search? How did you find it? Do you go to trainings? Share with me what is the process. It's a franchise, and it's nationwide, right?
Correct.
How did you find it? And what was the intriguing point that made you say, this is the investment that I want to do? Because it's an investment.
Yes, ma'am, it is. Yeah, so I've actually, it's funny, back in 2011, when I was in the process of retiring from the military, I went to a veteran job fair. And that's the year that they first started franchising out. And at this job fair, veteran job fair in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, this is with Jerry Flanagan. He's the CEO of J-Dog.
Have you met him?
Yes, ma'am, I have. Actually,
Nice.
I met him there, believe it or not.
Really?
That's when he was first franchising out. And, I looked at it, and I saw, oh, this is interesting. But back then, they wanted you to have a Humvee or a Jeep, because that's the military image. If you ever look at our vehicles, they're all camouflaged. That's J-Dog on it.
Fabulous.
So that's what makes
You
us
have a
different.
Hummer.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
I love your Hummer. I took a picture of me in your Hummer. I like it.
So, thank
Yes.
you. So back then, you needed, that's what is the requirement at that time. But I was in the middle of divorce, so I was like, financially, I can't afford this and everything to start up at that time. So I decided, you know what, I'll put that on my back burner. That's something that maybe one day I might, talking to Jerry, he was very intuitive and presented well on what the concept that he was trying to build. So then here I am 3 years later when I looked them up again. And what really intrigued me about it was on their webpage, they didn't have a Humvee showing or a Jeep. They had a pickup truck. So of course
They
they changed 3 years later, and I looked at it like, wait a minute, did they change? I have an F-150 pickup truck. So I'm thinking, So I filled out the questionnaire and stuff, and the next day, someone from the corporate level called me up.
Wow.
And long story short, they didn't require it, and I went ahead, and of course now I have a Humvee.
I know. They don't require it anymore. You didn't have it back then. You didn't get involved because they wanted you to have a Hummer and a Jeep.
Right.
Then they decided, well, that's not working out too well for us, having to have people, because that's a big financial responsibility. I know Hummers are expensive, and then what you get for the gas.
Right. Yes. But their workhorse isn't in that aspect.
Right. So I'm so happy to hear that they realized that one of the requirements just wasn't working for our veterans, because that's really an expensive branding, if you will.
Right.
So they went ahead and they said, hey, as long as you have a pickup truck.
As long as you have, a vehicle that could tow a trailer. That's all that was required.
A vehicle that could tow a trailer.
Yes. So it don't have to be. It could be. There's guys out there with what do they call those big trucks? Toyota makes them. It looks like a military vehicle almost. I can't think
my
of it.
gosh.
I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of vehicles out there. I don't know.
So I looked at
the Road Ranger or something, or okay.
But it's one of the franchisees has it. I forgot what it's called. But as long as you have a vehicle that could tow a trailer, that's all that's required. And of course, I had an F-150. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and of course, then I was looking at financing. I got my credit was back on track and everything.
Right.
And everything. I was able to get my finances in order after my divorce and everything. Okay. And I was like, you know what? Let me see if I could qualify for a loan. And
you got a Hummer.
Hold and behold, I got financed, and I decided I'm going to get me a Humvee.
You know what I love about it is that it's also wrapped.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's what.
Is that a requirement, or did you do that?
That's a requirement.
I was going to say, because when I looked at all the background in regards to this business, I've noticed that everybody has their vehicle wrapped.
Correct.
But it's great because it's a tax write-off. It's all part of the business expense.
Yeah, all you do is pay the franchise fee, and then of course, as long as it's on you to get the the financing, of course. Whatever vehicle you're going to use, as long as they're able to tow your vehicle, and then the requirement is, of course, the camouflage wrap, because that's what makes us stand out.
Right.
So when
it does too, doesn't it? The bulldog.
You know that who's coming to your place of residence, or we do both residential and commercial. So
yeah.
So that we're legitimate in reference to who's coming there. And you know
How
that
are you received when you show up?
very welcoming. Of course, people understand. They always people are grateful for that we provided served our country and all that. So that what makes us people are sort of want to help a veteran. So that's one thing that I've and it's very it's humbling when you see that support.
Yeah.
You really don't back during the Vietnam time frame and all that. People were kind of shy or not really forthcoming for that era.
Right.
Our generation. At least now, this generation, they not everyone in America support what the military is doing, but they know that they're doing it because the commander-in-chief, the president, says that we have to go there. But at least we know that when we come back, they understand that we were out there under orders for stuff, and they may not agree with it, but they do at least still support the military.
Right.
And that's what's great about it.
I love that. And I don't see why we're not supporting the military. The military is going out there on a voluntary basis because there's no longer a draft.
Right.
I remember when there was a draft, and I remember the parents trying to hide their kids.
Right, yeah.
I remember all too well, and then when you came back, it was just a nightmare for the veterans.
Right.
And it was very, very sad. And today, you get to be in business for yourself. If there's a will, there is a way.
Yep, there is. I mean, it's just one of those where, it's different. I mean, I've never owned a business before, so this is
right.
This is new and
Isn't
scary.
that interesting?
So it was a big leap.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy with the choice that I made. I mean, it's don't get me wrong, it's a learning curve.
Sure.
In reference to that aspect. But I've only been in business for 9 months, and I've already won through the Merrimack Chamber of Commerce. I was selected for a Small Business of the Year award. So, so I'm very grateful and humbling into that aspect, which means I know that what I'm doing, it's putting a positive light for the people that are understanding of what I'm trying to do,
Right.
and how I'm running my business. So.
Well, I have to tell you that my show is all about interaction. And I love the fact that after my show is done, that people get to interact with some kind of a message that they took from my show. I know that there's people out there that are watching us because this show is syndicated now, and it's going to be able to be syndicated all over the world if need be. And there's a veteran that's sitting there saying that I'm disabled, I can't do something, and now you've given them that ray of hope that you can absolutely, positively do something, and we have your back.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So thank you. It was very important that I have you on my show. I want people to know that there is opportunity out there no matter what.
And what makes us really unique into that aspect also is we employ veterans too. So like I've used veterans from the transition home in Liberty House in Manchester.
Oh, wow.
So I use some of those guys where I need some helpers and stuff. We're big in trying to hire, of course, we want to hire other veterans and stuff.
Right.
And stuff.
So they don't have to own the business. If they
Right.
can't afford to own the business or they don't see
Right.
themselves as a business owner, they shouldn't really shun the idea of working with, right?
Correct.
How can they contact you, John, if they want more information about whether it's being employed or being a franchisee? How can they find out more information about that?
Well, we have our national website. It's www.jdog.com, jdog.com. You can also contact me through my business cell, which is area code 603-377-6534. And there, of course, we have our national call center, which is 844-GET-JDOG. So those are different ways of getting a hold of, and all, with the national website, or you just fill out the questionnaire, or you put in your zip code, and actually will direct you to the local franchisee that's servicing that area.
Oh, wow.
So we may not service everywhere in the United States, but you'll see where you actually see the locations page to see how many franchises we have,
Right.
and where they're located.
Oh, wow.
And there might be an area where if someone is interested in opening up a franchise location, that they could look up in their state and see, if there's one there or not.
Wow. So, and you're very helpful and you're willing to share the information.
Yes, of course.
I like that because there's a lot of business owners that
That's right, yeah.
will not.
And that's what I like about our franchise is we're big into, we're like a brotherhood. We're more of our ethos, as we call it, is more of our brotherhood is we like to help each other. So our corporate level is out of Pennsylvania, Berwyn, Pennsylvania, But there's a lot of course, franchises right there, and they're bumping into each other because they have our territory.
Sure.
But they're big into, but we do help each other, meaning that, say, if someone were to open up one near me from my location area, and they're next to me, and we have, if someone calls it that I know is in his territory, I'll give them a courtesy and say, hey, so-and-so called me, did you, I directed them to you or her, whoever it wants to be. So we're not in competing, like we're there to help each other. And we have other franchises like in Texas and Louisiana area where they've done a joint cleanup. So they need some help. They'll contact a local franchise that may be nearby and say, hey, I got a big cleanup. Would you be willing to come out and help me out? Bring your truck and trailer and let's get this job done. So our philosophy is we try to help each other. That's the bottom line. You want that. A lot of us miss the camaraderie. And stuff that we're used to in the military, and it was very hard to see that on the civilian side, in the business world, especially in the business world. It's almost dog-eat-dog world almost. So it can't, so it's I don't, so it's very, so we try to make sure that we want to build a business that's, we're here to help each other and stuff to that aspect.
What's your ideal client, customer?
We try to target mostly. We have a lot of the, especially now I don't want to say hoarders, but the elderly generation and stuff, where people are trying to downsize. The philosophy now is, if we notice is, a lot of people are trying to downsize and declutter their homes. So because they're trying to downsize, we noticed that everyone, the older generation, they didn't want to get rid of the stuff. They wanted to, they try to accumulate, and they'll put in boxes and put it in the basement or in a storage facility, believe it or not, in a storage, and they're paying monthly for the storage fee. But the last time they ever looked in these boxes might have been 10 years ago.
My gosh.
So we're trying to find those individuals that, that haven't, we try to say, look, if you haven't looked at this stuff or wore these clothes for the past couple of years, then it's out of sight, out of mind, which means you really don't need it.
Right.
But we try to donate. One thing that we're big into, we try to recycle, repurpose, refurbish, and donate a lot of the stuff. So I've been fortunate enough to where I've been able to pretty much almost 90% of the stuff is donatable. So I've been able to, I use a lot of different agencies out there like Goodwill, Salvation Army. I use the Liberty House to donate some stuff to Outfitters. In Manchester, because they're big into, there's a transition home for families. So the stuff they use goes back into helping those families that are trying to transition from being homeless and everything else. So we look for those areas. I also use the Habitat for Humanity Restore. So there's stuff that, like the saying goes, one man's junk is another man's treasure. It's true, because you may no longer won't need it, but if it still works, if it still serves a purpose, that's not, as long as it's not too badly damaged, someone else could probably use it who's less fortunate, that, grateful to have it, that's free, or to that effect. So.
That is so true. Bonded and insured?
Yes. Yep. We are licensed and insured. Yep.
So if I was a hoarder and I had a storage, and I've had it for 10 years, just like you just described, do I necessarily have to go in with you and look through the stuff? Do you cherry pick? If you saw something that you go, oh, wait a second, this has value, do you put it aside and say to the owner, there are a few things that I think that maybe you want to look at before we take it away?
Yes.
Do you do that?
Yes,
how does that work?
What we do is I've done it. I've gone to I've done storage facilities. I've also done of course people's homes where they just have a lot of stuff in the basement. They may come and hire us for they want to junk. They just want it hauled out.
Right.
So there's a lot of sentimental value. We treat it like as if it was our own stuff. So we do look in it real quick to see. I've gone so where there was like pictures and stuff.
Right.
And I say, are you sure you want to? I'll show it to the customer, and make them make the final decision to make sure. Because a lot of times they may not have seen this stuff for X amount of years.
Exactly.
And they may not remember what's everything. All they know is they need to clear out this basement because they want to sell the house.
Right.
So we do go through it. And then what we do is we do separate in a way to where if I know that it's going to be donated, I could be able to donate this. I'll try to put it in segregate it enough to where we don't it's not like I'm not going to be in front of you and say, oh, I'm going to donate that. Oh, I'm taking it.
Right.
Because that's to me is disrespectful. But if I know that in my mind, okay, let's try to keep the things a little bit separate, so it makes it easier when I get home in my or place of business where I work at my home. So we kind of able to, hey, take the stuff that's donatable off the trailer, then the rest of the stuff that we know that's going to have to go to the transfer station, that's junk, that we know that can't be, then we leave that on, and then we go empty that trailer out. Then the stuff that's going to be donatable, that could be, then we load it back up on the trailer, and then I do what's called a round robin, and actually drive around, because every place you go where you donate, not everyone will, depending on who's working, does not take everything. I've gone to where I had a big, huge U-Haul. I had one job where it was, I had to rent a U-Haul of stuff, and I was like, this is big, there's a lot of donations here. And I went to one place, and we started offloading, and they're like, we can't take anymore. So we're like, cause their loading dock or whatever, their area, it was already full with stuff. And so we were like, okay, no problem, so we load up, and then we went to our next location until we go through, I go to like 6, 7 places throughout between Manchester all the way down to Tingsboro, Mass.
Oh my goodness.
Of places that I go around, seeing where I could, donate a lot of this stuff that other people could use. So that's one thing I do. That's part of why, people, I may come to a home and some people may look, you're only here for 15 minutes, but you can see, I actually, behind the scenes, there's a lot of things I have to include, to do. Because I don't want to just take it to, the landfill and just junk it. Don't get me wrong, there's some stuff that some customers say, this is donatable, but you already know that no one's going to accept it. And,
sure.
But you politely say, yeah, no problem. Well, again, people have sentimental value. They're attached to something, some things that might. So you're not, in front of the customer, we're not going to be like, oh, I know there's not going to be donor. No problem. We'll try to do the best we can.
Oh, you're soft-hearted.
So that's what we try to do. Because in their mind, they're happy that their stuff is going to be used by someone else.
That's right.
So
you're kind.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, of course you're kind.
But I appreciate it.
Yeah. That's very powerful, because you're absolutely right. I remember when I was downsizing, and it was hard. It's very, very hard to decide what gets donated, what gets thrown away. The process of elimination can be very stressful, and you seem to have, and I guess, do they train you on that, on how to be more softer, more caring, more compassionate?
Once you sign up for the agreement, you do your franchise agreement and everything, you actually go down to Pennsylvania, corporate level, and they do a 3-day training course. And they give you a little bit of everything, a bit about the business model, about how to get, generate leads, all the different marketing tools, and of course, being more personable, and basically understand the concept of how you want to run the business and what we're trying to do. But of course, it's on the person itself too. So don't get me wrong. Something that has to be the person that's wanting to. Cause this business is not for everyone. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
And that's part of the interview process. Because you pretty much go down when you thinking about it, and they talk to you over the phone to see if you kind of are a good fit or not. And then after that, then they actually say, okay, we want you come down and meet us, and that's the best part of it, which really impressed me was, after I did my phone interview, I guess you could say, and there's like, oh yeah, well, we would like you to come down. That way we could kind of see you in person and
it's like you're being re-enlisted again.
So it's kind of like that. But then what was great was when I was able to take time, on one of my days off from the prison, I went down to Pennsylvania, and what was nice is they already did the research for your area or where you look. So they did we call it a op order, but basically they did a full intel background of your location, who your competitors were.
Wow.
They said this is what your likelihood of what your profit should be, and everything. They already did the research before you can. So they do a PowerPoint presentation on your what we call a file.
So they've done this research, they've done the marketing analysis, obviously, which is fantastic. You've been in business now for
9 months.
9 months. How true is their market analysis?
It's close. I've been for a first year, everyone says you really don't make any money for the first year.
True.
You're supposed to be, and I'm on the plus side a little bit, and
Nice.
and it's like it's more of I mean it's like people I feel like I'm behind. I'm compared to the group that I went to training with. And it's just me. It's more of I want to, see how they're doing. I'm wondering, am I catching up to, they're already ahead of me in reference to that aspect. But as a business owner, I've talked other business owners and everything, and like, no, you're doing good. But I think it's more the military thing. You put more pressure.
Competitive.
You put more pressure on yourself. You're like, wait a minute, no, I don't feel like.
Right.
But it's a learning curve and everything. But I know that my name's getting out there and getting to meet. I do a lot of networking, so I think that's
how we met.
So that's how I get to meet a lot of people, and they may not need my services then, but then they'll remember me. So that's
You will always be remembered.
So.
No doubt, no doubt. And I like that. I like that, first of all, that you're in the black, not the red, after 9 months of being in business, even if it's a little bit.
Right.
That's a very big statement, especially when you've started out from not knowing anything about, number one, being a business owner, let alone a whole new industry.
Yeah.
And I applaud you and your success, and it's only going to go up.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
And I'm excited because you said something that was very powerful, that you have others that are doing better than you, which means that you're willing to learn exactly. Because what I do, when I have a mentor that has accomplished what I want to accomplish, I always look at them as a role model, and I model after them. And you seem to be very open for that.
Yes, I am.
And I love that. And you're open to change, and you're opening to having just a better tomorrow. So as our show, can you believe it? It's already been almost 30 minutes. Is that crazy? I know. I've enjoyed you so much. I'd like for you to give our veterans a tip, because you know exactly how they feel. What's your tip for them?
Tip is you have to set your goals and your dreams. Don't sit back and be like, oh, I wish I could do something or all that. Don't be with the norm. You want to set yourself apart. Mm-hmm. And if you have a goal, go for it. I mean, that's life. You need to be willing to go for it. Because if you don't, then you're going to be one of those that I wish, or what if this, what if that. But then if you're sit behind on the safe line, as they call it, of life, then you're never going to take those risks. And that's part of life, is taking those risks.
I love that. I love that. You know, everybody, we never said life was easy, but we did say you can be happier. And as a veteran, maybe your choice is not to own a franchise, but maybe it's to be around more like-minded people that can relate to you. So you could also be an employee. And I am just so excited to be able to share this nationwide and to let you know that there is hope for you. There is a new beginning for you. You just have to be willing to step out and get it, and go to your internet and put in jdog.com to learn more about this amazing opportunity for all our veterans out there. John, thank you so, so much. Give the audience a big wave and say thank you very, very much. Thank you for serving us. Thank you for serving us.
Well,
this was a great show. I appreciate you so much.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.